The benefits of a daily emotional cleanliness program. This is an interesting idea to me. It's an idea basically that was brought to me, and my coach and mentor was like, "Hey, every day you have triggers in your life. You have events that happen. You have things that go on. You have life happening in business, in medicine, in family, and if you do not have a way to deal with those, then what will happen is all of that will build up, and eventually you'll have an emotional experience that may not be the greatest. Might lose it at my kids, might lose it at my wife, might lose it even at a patient. You know, that's not a great experience as a professional. But it'll happen if I've got too much going on in my life. And the usual coping mechanisms for this are not that helpful. Do you know what they are? Sure. Drinking, smoking, gambling, porn, cheating. What else is there? Anything that basically gives a temporary experience of relief, but does nothing to actually solve the problem. And that's the difference between a lot of the coping mechanisms that human beings use on a daily basis versus an emotional cleanliness program. That in the emotional, there's actually an attempt to recognize what's going on, come to grips with it, go, okay, yeah, this is the actual situation that I'm dealing with, and this is how I feel about it. That's why it's an emotional cleanliness program. And having owned where I am, opening up to what I want. And then looking at where I am, looking at where I want, and what has to change, what action steps have to be. This is very different from drinking a beer or taking a tablet or smoking some kind of thing. All of those temporarily sedate me, for sure. Netflix will do it. I've definitely done that. Binge watched some Star Wars or some Marvel. I really like the Loki one. The Loki I've watched twice. Is pretty cool. But did it resolve any of my problems? No, it did not. And so what was developed was a series of questions to go through and essentially establish what the problem is. How do I feel about it? How did I end up with that problem? What have I tried before? How did that go? What do I want? How would I feel if I got it? Why do I want it? What obstacles are in the way? What needs to be done to fix those obstacles? And then what needs to be done first? When will it be done by? And by taking the action that comes out of those questions, I move myself away from the situation and forward into a new situation. Now, here's the kicker. Do you know what it is? There's more problems in the new situation. But at least they're different problems. At least they're newer problems. They're higher level problems. And hopefully in that experience, I've got more resources, more education, more learning to handle that new experience. But while I stay stuck, unable to acknowledge what's actually going on, and in that being unable to decide or define where I want to go, and without those 2 points, not being able to choose what needs to be done, and then finally not taking those actions, all of those things lead to a problem. My life stays the same. It loops over and over and over and over. You see, it is the creation of the new direction, the new vision, the new place to go that enables new steps to be taken. Otherwise, if I'm still stuck in the same place as I was, and I just take any action, the high probability is that it will just loop me around to the same place and I'll be stuck again. But you don't get to create the new place if you can't own where you are right now. So this is why telling the truth and being honest with myself is a critical skill set. Hey, this is what is going on. Right now, I've got some major marriage problems. My wife's like, you are a dickhead. I'm like, yeah, you know what, I am. And I'm like, maybe we're done. She's like, maybe we're done. I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe we are. I've got a lot of fight left in me because over the years I've seen my wife consistently choose not to face any of her issues. It's always my fault. Always my fault. I'm like, well, there's two of us in this relationship. Sometimes it's my fault. Sometimes I do some horrendously dumb stuff. I'm like, yeah, pretty stupid. Trying to do this, trying to do that. Didn't work. But when it does work, okay, hey, some things in my life have worked really well. And a couple of those are alive. My 3 kids. That was a really good move. They are awesome. I love my kids so much, Then buying properties worked really well. Being a doctor generally worked pretty well. It's had its difficulties, don't get me wrong. But overall, in terms of being a healer, helping people, it's been pretty good. And lots of mistakes. Lots of mistakes. But I was willing to make those mistakes. Why? Because, well, it reduces the amount of regret that I'll have at the end of my life. I don't want to look back and go, gee, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that. Now, this may mean that my life is going to radically change. I don't know. It might. It might. It's possible. And perhaps that's exactly what's needed. Radical change. Just to go, you know what? For whatever reason, we have exhausted our ability to live with each other. And that's full on. Certainly full on. I've never been divorced before. I've run a divorce, which was pretty trippy. My father got dementia. I had to divorce his ex. That was super trippy. I was like, whoa, okay. Wow. Thank goodness I had that experience. It's like, oh, okay. I learned that in divorce, essentially the settlement is all just money. It's like, well, how do you split up the cash? Who's looking after the kids? How do you split the cash? And people spend huge amounts of money trying to prove points which have nothing to do with the actual marriage breakdown at all. It's like, oh, this is just like buying a house or selling a house. It's very helpful, particularly if I got to go through it again. So we'll see. We'll see. The other possibility for me is that in this breakdown experience that we're going through, that somehow my wife decides to make a new decision for herself. And she might actually resolve some of the challenges that have pretty much, I don't know, I'm like, I can't do her work for her. I can't do your work. You can't do my work. You're not going to be able to resolve my emotional challenges. I have to do it. I have to be clear. I have to have good tools. I have to be willing to look. Sometimes it's so ugly, so difficult to see. I'm like, God, how did that happen? It's not what I wanted, but here it is. Okay. Okay. So we'll see. I'm also very aware that my father just died, and making major decisions on top of all of that may be not the greatest choice of all time, but I don't know. We'll see what the universe has got. It's going to be an exciting little ride. At the moment, major tasks, pack. Pack for what? Pack for the snow. Head into the snow tonight. Or rather tomorrow morning. 4 a.m., Hamish and myself are going to be in the car. And then my wife and my other 2 kids are going to fly down to Canberra, which is pretty cool. Pick them up, head up to Thredbo and have some interesting skiing. Obviously, it's Australia, so we'll see what conditions it's in. Don't know how the whole thing's going to go down with my wife. It's going to be like, we didn't have any hugs or kisses this morning in terms of farewell for the day. So I don't know, maybe that's the new normal. We'll see how it plays out. Kind of curious. Kind of over just the status quo. And I've been working at this for a while. So we'll see what happens. Perhaps she'll have a breakthrough. Perhaps she won't. I don't know. But I'll keep you informed of what happens, because it's going to be a hell of a ride. All right, that's all I got for you today. If you want to know how to do the emotional cleanliness, then send me an email at drtom@graduatemedicine.com and ask for the daily emotional cleanliness program, and I'll send you a link to how to set that up in your life too. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Oh my goodness, it's so valuable. particularly if you're struggling with challenges with your team, with patients, with your family. All of these things can be resolved and improved and fixed and opened up to a new level of life that is possible. Instead of being stuck with the same old thing, something new happens. All right, that's all I got for you. I hope you have an awesome day. Catch you soon.